Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Have you ever felt like God really wanted you to do something and then it didn't materialize, it didn't happen, or God didn't want you to do something? I guess what I'm getting at is it sometimes difficult to understand what God's trying to communicate? I feel that way sometimes. In hindsight, sometimes it's really clear. I want to share with you a story about Paul and Silas. So they're off on this missionary trip and they want to go preach. And in chapter 16, verse 7 of the book of Acts, it says, they then coming to the border of Mysia, they headed north for the province of Bithynia. But again, the Spirit of Jesus didn't allow them to go there. I don't know exactly what it was, but the Spirit of Jesus just says, don't go there. So instead, they went on through Mysia to the seaport of Troas. So they end up in Philippi. And actually, they felt really called there. There was a vision that they had. Someone was pleading in this vision for them to come there. They're like, all right, this is where we're supposed to go. We thought it was this, but God wants us to go there. And while they're there, they're preaching. All kinds of good stuff is going on until all kinds of good stuff was not going on. Some things went really wrong. So later in the chapter, verses 22 through 24, it says, the multitude rose up together against them. I don't like when that happens. I don't like when anybody opposes me, but when the multitude rises up against you. And the magistrates tore off their clothes, Paul and Silas's clothes, and commanded them to be beaten with rods. Oh, this stinks. Wait a minute. Why did Jesus lead us here? And when they had laid many stripes on them, they threw them into the inner prison and fastened their feet in stocks. Well, this is not what I would consider a good day. Now, if I were Paul and Silas, if you could hear the two of them talking, wouldn't you imagine the conversation like, so you had a vision, we're supposed to come here, did you, Paul? And that's Silas, and Paul's like, no, I'm sure of it, but I don't know. Maybe we were supposed to go somewhere else. Have you ever felt that way? Where everything's gone wrong? One of the things that I tell people if they're going to go into ministry full-time, know that you know that God's called you. Because many times you will feel that things are going wrong and you're not supposed to be there, but when you know that God's called you, you don't worry about that. Success is the thing that God evaluates. Whatever you're dealing with in life, might not be ministry, could be something else. Do you know that it's what God wants for you? If you're married, God wants you married. So God wants you to be a source of causing your marriage to grow, not for it to fail. You know that's God's will, so you can pray according to that. Are there times you may think, this can't be God's will? You may feel that way, but that's not God's will. God wants that for you. So how did Paul and Silas respond? Well, they put in their complaints with the complaint department overnight in heaven and said, please get us out of here. No, that's not what it says. It says in verse 25, instead of saying another locked door, they started singing hymns. And it says all the other prisoners were listening. Well, the other prisoners had no choice. I love how Max Lucado puts it. Their feet were in stocks, yet their minds were in heaven. Where are your feet today? Your feet are on earth. Your feet might be in the fire. We could come up with all sorts of things where your feet might be. Your feet might be in trouble, but your mind can still be in heaven. See, I think for Paul and Silas, it was like, we came here, this is what God required of us. It may not look successful, and we're about to get kicked out of town. But Paul would later write a letter to the church at Philippi, and they were a source of great joy to him. It all worked out in the end. But the deal is this, it's not about success, it's about being faithful. There's a lot of things that I try to evaluate in my life, and I've learned, don't try so hard. The important thing is be faithful to what God has called us to do. If you are faithful to God's plan, you are a total, complete success, regardless of what anybody else can see. Wherever your feet are today, your mind, your heart, your soul can be in heaven. God bless you. Have a great day.